All right, good morning. It's about 5:30 a.m. The sun's rising here. We are hiking the Horn Creek Trail. I'll show you Horn Creek is up here behind me. There it is. That is 4.4 miles away, about 4,500 feet climb and elevation. We're currently at 9,000. We're gonna be climbing to 13,500. I'm already out of breath. This is a bad sign. But I think it's gonna be a great hike today. I expect it's gonna take us around 6 hours round trip. We shall see. And apparently it is absolutely beautiful. So I can't wait to show you the scenery this morning. So this is Rainbow Creek here. And it is flowing today. All right, so it looks like we're getting up here towards the tree line. We just climbed a good ways. Well, you can't see, but down from that valley up the rocky path. The second you turn on the Horn Creek trailhead to the summit, it gets steep. And we climbed for probably 20-25 minutes. Now we're catching our breath. It's nice and flat up here. And we got a pretty good view of the summit where we're headed today. And believe it or not, that's less than 3 miles away. All right, so we're 2.3 miles into the hike. There's Horns Peak ahead of us. It's 4.4 miles, so we're over halfway. And we got a nice little break here. We had a second climb. It was about as long as the first, about 20-25 minutes. It's a pretty steep pitch, nothing compared to what we're gonna face at the summit. But we're about to break the tree line, and we've been walking along these beautiful aspen trees the whole way. Very scenic hike. Again, the climate is perfect. It's maybe 60-some degrees. And it sounds like we've got the Rainbow, Creek running there off to the right, which has just been so nice to hear. And if anything, if you don't want to carry water, you could probably bring a water fire pure with you to lighten your load and get fresh water along the trail. All right, we just crossed the creek, and now we're making our way up the side of the mountain. Beautiful wildflowers all along the trail. It's actually, the temperature's gone up a little bit now that we're out of that little creek area where we saw the snow. But it smells so good out here. I don't know if it's the wildflowers or what, but it's a beautiful fragrant, it's a beautiful fragrance, and it's probably some of the cleanest air I've breathed in a long time. All right, so we're here on the Horn Creek Trail. We're a little over halfway. We're climbing 4,500 feet today to the summit called Horn Creek, thus the trail's name. And anyways, Isaiah, this is his first big hike, so this is exciting. We're gonna be climbing up to 13,500 some feet, so it's almost a 14er. So this is a very arduous and challenging hike, to say the least. And it's been beautiful along the way. But as we looked out, and you can't see it from this particular spot, but as we looked out and we could see the summit, it's still a good ways away. And I was telling Isaiah, there's a time when I was in school and I wanted for school to be over. But I counted up the years and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm only halfway. And you know, maybe that's where you're at in your life. You've got a goal you're trying to achieve, and it's still a long way off, and you've put a lot of effort and energy to get where you are. And I was telling Isaiah, in my life, what I've learned to do is just take the next step. Just take the next step forward, because at that summit or that goal in your life, there's a new horizon. There's new possibilities. And on the other side of the current pain is a new potential. So anyways, all that to say, keep pressing on. It's gonna be worth it. Enjoy the journey along the way. And I was telling Isaiah, when I got to the end of my school, what was crazy was I went on to seminary for an additional 4 years, and that's opened up some amazing possibilities in my career and life, for that matter. So you just never know what's at the end of the journey for you. So again, keep pressing on. All right, so we are 3 miles into the hike, about 90 minutes. it's taken us to get this far. We've made it to the switchback section now, so we are nearing the end of the tree line and the base of the summit. And anyways, air is definitely a little bit thinner up here and the climb's a little bit steeper, but it is beautiful because when you get up this high, you begin to be able to start seeing over both sides of the mountain. All right, we made it up here to the brush. I think it might be called Alpine Tundra. It's been a long time since I hiked these mountains. But here comes Isaiah and Heidi making their way. Both of them wishing right now that they had stopped smoking prior to coming on this trip.
Ooh, there's some poop right there.
Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't have anywhere to bury it.
Wow!
And there it is. That's our summit. All right, so once you get up above the tree line, look for some rock formations on your left, and eventually you'll see these posts, and you can see it's marked out. Because once you get up here, there's not as much path, or the path isn't as clear, because it's pretty much just rock and grass. All right, I'm about 12,000 feet right now, on my way to 13,500. It's hard on the lungs, it's hard on the legs, but I train for moments like these. I put myself through pain every day in my workouts. I take cold showers for a lot of reasons, but one of them is so that I don't grow comfortable and complacent. So if you want the fruit in life, my dad always told me you gotta climb out on a limb. And if you want a better view in life, you gotta keep climbing. You gotta keep pressing on, one step at a time. Embrace the pain and press on. All right, 2 hours and 30 minutes into the hike. Isaiah and Heidi are taking it one step at a time. Isaiah hasn't really trained for hiking, so he's doing amazing and fighting a bit of altitude sickness. But we made it up here to the top of the highest point that we saw down there from the tree line in exactly 30 minutes. And from here, it looks like we're just gonna walk along the crest of the summit to the very top. So I'm excited, and we'll just take it one step at a time and make it there together as a family. All right, here comes the champ, Isaiah, 13 years young, just past 12,200 feet. He has not trained a lick for this, is fighting altitude sickness and pressing on. This kid is strong. And pulling up the caboose, who would already be at the peak if it wasn't for me and Isaiah, is Heidi. So at this point of the trail, you can see there's not a lot of path. Our son Isaiah is waiting there at the top of that mountain, 12,500. And then you just make your way along the ridge and just bear left. That's what the locals told me that have climbed this a few times. And as you bear left, you kind of just weave your way up to the summit. So that's what we're doing. All right, so from this point forward, it's a bit of a scramble. You'll be on your hands and your feet. Okay, so we're just a little left of the ridge line, and my All Trails map app is showing me that we're right on track. This looks like our last ascent. It'll be a bit of a scramble. And then over the peak there should be Horns Peak. Okay, so I'm nearing the summit here, right over that hill About 5 steps away is the summit of Horns Peak. Oh, let's see what's going on here. We made it here in just under 3 hours, 30 minutes with some good breaks. I'm gonna wait to summit when my wife's here with me. There's these beautiful lakes you'll see off to the right. There's actually a trail down there. So you could, in theory, head off to the right and go back country on the way back and then catch that trail and it'll intersect with the Rainbow Trail. But anyways, here's Heidi. We are steps away from the summit. All right, here we are. About the summit, Horns Peak together. Heidi and I. It's not quite 13,500, we'll round up. It's like 13,425, but that's right, we'll jump high and get that extra 50 feet. But would you look at this? So here we are. We are officially at the peak. I am currently standing on the highest point, and here is a 360-degree view of Horns Peak. Heidi is challenging my highest point, and I think she might win. All right, we are at the summit of Horns Peak, about 13,500 feet. On the other side of those Rocky Mountains is the Great Sand Dunes of Colorado, which I cannot wait to see. And back down there is our path home. All right, so I'm running a little bit low on water. I brought one bottle. I like to travel light. So anyways, got this nice snow here at the top of the mountain. So not always recommended, but I cleaned off the dirt layer. It tastes good. None of it's yellow. So I filled my bottle up, and that'll give me enough water to get back down the mountain. Just an idea for you if you run out of water. All right, so we're making our way down the mountain here. It's pretty steep. You know, going up, you get out of breath. Going down, it just wears your quads out because you're kind of on the brakes the whole time. If you can find a walking stick, I highly recommend it. It just helps. It's like having a third foot. And anyways, I'm also walking down diagonally. So going up, I walked up pretty direct and straight. Going down, I'm just probably cutting back and forth at 45-degree angles, and I feel pretty good about that. So you just want to find what works for you, but it is a beautiful hike, and what a gorgeous day to enjoy God's creation.
And look what we have here. A fairy frolicking in the meadow.
We found a new meadow for you, Uncle Jimmy. Sure you'll love it.
There's more, yeah.
Come on, guys, let's go. Yeah. Well, we made it back safely. Had a good hike. About 5 hours, 5.5 round trip. Oh, you can't see it from here, but the mountain's back there. It was a beautiful hike, beautiful day. We're very grateful for the opportunity and the health to do this. All right, I just cooled off Neck Creek. Spent about 8 minutes in the water. Woo, it was refreshing, feels good. Trying to go back, get some lunch, but that was a great hike today. And I'm hoping that cold water helps me feel a little less sore tomorrow. All right, that's it. Good times today here in beautiful Colorado.